and welcome to day one of our Infrastructure as Code module. In this module, we will be focusing on how to automate and manage our infrastructure in a modern DevOps way, which is through code. And I will be guiding you through this in a crash course fashion. And it's designed for absolute beginners, so no fear if you don't have any experience with infrastructure as code. The aim of this course is to get you all the fundamentals and get you sure-footed in how infrastructure as code works. So we will today be looking at what infrastructure as code is, what it really means, and why it is a game changer in the IT space. So let's start with the basics. What do we mean by infrastructure as code? What is it really? Think of it like the foundation of a house. In IT, this would be the infrastructure itself would be servers, the networking, the storage, and some other components that the application needs to run. So what is it really? It's managing and provisioning infrastructure through code instead of manual processes. Manual processes meaning being the physical building of the server through picking and configuring it, and it not being repeatable because it's not stored. And infrastructure as code is coming through with managing and provisioning that infrastructure that would have been done manually in an automated fashion. We look at tools like Terraform. Well, we know tools like Terraform, CloudFormation, Resource Manager, and Azure, and Ansible are commonly used for implementing infrastructure as code. So those are synonymous with how we implement the automation of provisioning infrastructure. It's a key DevOps practice which enables teams to automate and streamline how the code is delivered, how applications and their supporting infrastructure is delivered. So basically, infrastructure as code treats infrastructure like a software, and it defines it in a machine readable way rather than through manual steps. So why does it matter? Why does infrastructure as code matter, and why do we love infrastructure as code? It is because it can give us consistency across environments. This means that the same code that you wrote once can be deployed the same way every time. It also automates repeatable deployment. So if you're doing this instance where you are probably writing or need to deploy the same or provision the same infrastructure in one environment, you can do, and you have to repeat the same configs throughout different environments. You can repeat it in an automated fashion through infrastructure as code. Version control and rollback. You can roll back to previous states, same way you do in a source code, and this helps you be able to revert and also keep track of what changes exist in the code, same as you do with your normal code. And it facilitates collaboration between teams by allowing them to work together in Git or some repository management or source control manager on the same infrastructure as code. So we look then as well as, if we draw a contrast between manual and infrastructure as code, in traditional IT, setting up infrastructure meant manually logging into a server and running commands. So that would be like, doing something without a plan, just running commands, going into the server, running commands, and that makes it slow. It makes it error prone. It makes it time consuming. There isn't consistency in doing it the same way, and it's difficult to scale because you are physically you are physically doing the work, so it can't just be at a click of a button and then you scale up or down. And visibility is limited, as well as higher risk for security issues and the slower deployment cycles as well. So when you look at what the infrastructure as code approach is, it's a exact solution for all the problems um, that manual deployments or manual provisioning has. It changes it into a way where you can work in a seamless fashion. It lets you define infrastructure using code, similar to writing instructions for a robot, and it will just execute it for you. So you can look, the contrast is clear between manual and ISC, where the manual way of working lacks. ISC comes through as a solution by automating how we provision the service, by providing consistency through stuff like version control, and you are able to provision speedily and efficiently, and there is repeatability because you only write once and you can deploy the same code across different environments many times. There is cost savings to this as well because time is saved, and it's a good DevOps practice in general. Now, there are many tools out there that we use for infrastructure as code, and if ever there's time, if we I encourage you to go and read up on all the different ones, and always as a DevOps engineer, use what is uh, applicable for your space where you work. Um, there are popular ones, like the most popular one is Terraform. It's an open source tool and cloud agnostic, meaning it's highly leaning into the cloud, into deploying cloud infrastructure. And then there is AWS Cloud Formation, which is specifically, it's a native tool for AWS resource provisioning. There is also Pulumi, which is allowing you to use general purpose languages like Python or JavaScript, and it just has that versatility to it. Each one of these has their own language. Terraform uses HCL, and CloudFormation uses like your YAML. And for each one of these, there is, a way to do it. But we are going to focus in this course, for the duration of this course, we will be working with Terraform, uh, because it's beginner friendly and very powerful. You can think of it as a universal remote for your cloud infrastructure. Also, we mentioned version control in the previous slide. So it will also be a tool that we use in combination just to um, leverage the power of infrastructure as code, because it becomes even more powerful when it's paired with something like a Git, since teams can collaborate on the infrastructure as code, uh, and the changes are tracked and reviewed and audited. You can build CI/CD pipelines for your own infrastructure, so you will be able to test and approve your infrastructure before applying it live. And that just makes it a more secure way of deploying and automating infrastructure. We look at declarative versus imperative. Um, Infrastructure as code uses a declarative approach. You declare what you want, and the tool that you use will figure out how to make it happen, which is different from the imperative approach where you manually tell the system what to do step by step. So this just shows the slide just shows the difference between imperative and declarative. In declarative, you would describe what results you want without specifying uh what you actually want. So this is like saying you want cake, and not actually specifying what cake you would like. That's in the real world. So in code, this is just no specifics, but being very, just giving instructions on what you actually want, but not instructions on how specifically you want it. It the declarative models tries to avoid changing the system's condition or setup. So if you were specific about what you want, you would have been able to change it. But in a declarative model, it's more template format. Right? You don't have to change the condition. It just gives exactly what you asked for without the specifics of it, or at the best, on a best effort basis. While imperative, which is the opposite of what declarative is and what Terraform uses. It specifies the exact sequence of operations, how you need to do it. So this is like dependencies specified, the replica amount specified, and it works by changing what the program is doing while it or what it's supposed to remember to do. So you can go into the tool and specify and change it and do specific things about it. I hope that part is clear. But yeah, this is a comparison between imperative and declarative. Um. Okay, so that's just a recap of what we learned. What we have was what is we discussed what is infrastructure as code, why it matters, what the benefits are actually, and what the popular tools are. Uh, and then the next steps that we will have is that we will do some hands-on experiments throughout the course. Um, and it will just mainly involve you getting familiar with what the code looks like and how we actually link up our platforms with the tool that we're using. So infrastructure is the foundation of your apps, and manually configuring it will just slow down how you deliver it. And this infrastructure as code will let you write your code in automated fashion in order to automate how you deliver infrastructure. And since Terraform is the most widely used tool, that's what we will be using. And the declarative approach just saves the time and reduces the risk of how we do it. So that is all from me in this section. Join me in the next section where we will be setting up our tools, and we will be linking up our AWS with our infrastructure as code tool, which is Terraform. But for now, that is all from me. Until the next session.